Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. If it's your first time here, karibu sana. Welcome to Make an Impression, a safe space where we are choosing to be authentically bold in how we live our lives, whether that is matters faith, lifestyle, or personal development. So if those are topics that interest you, please do consider hitting the subscribe button and joining this growing family. And if you are a returning subscriber, I always forget to say thank you so much for choosing to be a part of this beautiful community. So today I want to talk about starting over, but before I get there, I wanted to mention, if you follow me on my socials, I posted the fundamentals under which we operate, which basically encompasses our vision, and I just wanted to have that conversation with you guys as well, so that if you've not had an opportunity to check out on our socials, then you also get up to date with that. So I wanted to talk about the fundamentals under which we operate from, and in short, we have just called it BAFUT, which sounds more like Bafut, like a very strong acronym. But Bafut in this case, basically just means that we are operating on the basis of boldness. We are choosing to be bold in everything that we do, and basically we have shortened it to say be fearless in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. The second one is authenticity. Authentic, we are choosing to be authentic in this space, and that is our second one. The third one is femininity. Feminine, we are operating from the sense of softness, from the sense of acceptance of who we are and building on that. The fourth one is uniqueness. Of course, you have to embrace who you are, because all of who you are is all of who you are, and that is your unique point. And we basically said that no one is you, and that is your superpower. The last one is trustworthy. Of course, if we operate from a point where you can trust our conversations, and that means that we are building a community that is full of trustworthy individuals. So I'm just going to find a way to place them somewhere on the screen so that we can also familiarize ourselves with that, because if we are walking in unison and if we are walking together in these 5 aspects, and then it means that we are becoming bold, we are becoming authentic, and we are becoming real in the things that we are sharing in this community. So having said that, I'd like to head on over to the conversations that I'd like us to have today, and that is giving yourself permission to start over. So starting over can look like a lot of things. Starting over can look like therapy. Starting over can look like, turning from left to right. Starting over can look like getting rid of toxic friends. Starting over can look like quitting what is not giving you joy and starting afresh. And in this case, I want to focus on starting over by rebuilding trust with yourself, because unless we start from the point where we actually sit down and accept that we lost trust in ourselves and that's why we got comfortable with where we are, then we are not able to give ourselves that permission to start over. So we have to start from the point of trusting ourselves once again, coming back to the point where we can trust that we are ready to start over. We are ready to give ourselves permission to actually believe that we can do what we want to do. And I want to start by saying that when we choose to start over, then we have to make that decision. We have to make that decision to first of all start over. And making that decision can look like, as I mentioned, deciding to go for therapy, can look like getting rid of toxic friends, can look like loving yourself more, can look like all these things. But saying them sounds sweet and rosy and flowery, but when it comes to actually putting these things into action, it takes a lot from someone. If I was to give you guys my example, for me starting over, I have started over, I think, so many times, and every time I start over, I have realized that I've had to give myself permission to trust myself once again, to trust that I can actually do this, to trust that starting over means I need to sit down and get rid of the toxicity that is in my mind and be able to give myself permission to believe that I can do better and that I can be better. So giving yourself permission to start over is really just saying that I am done with being comfortable. I am done with sitting in this place of comfort. I am done with this particular lifestyle. I am done with this particular thing, and I want to now change from that and move forward. And I always say that just as I said again, and I will repeat again, it sounds all rosy and dandy when we talk about it, but when we come to actioning, when it actually comes to sitting down and deciding to start over, it is not going to be easy, because you're going to have to confront those sides of yourself that you've been comfortable living in, those sides of yourself that people have known you for, and you have to confront those things, and you have to be able to gain the confidence to come out as a different person. But we're not talking about what it takes. We are talking about giving yourself the permission to trust yourself to start over, because it has to start there. If you've stayed in a place of comfort for so long that you have identified yourself as that person, it's very hard, actually more, I think I would even use the word impractical to think that it can work overnight. So there is a process to starting over and becoming that better version of yourself. And that process starts from the point of trusting yourself. You've got to be able to give yourself grace, give yourself permission to start again, give yourself permission to forgive yourself. Because listen here, guys, if you do not forgive yourself for your past mistakes, if you do not forgive yourselves for the things that you look at and think, wow, I must have been stupid doing this, I must have been, I don't know, because we really like to blame ourselves for a lot of things. But if you are stuck in that space, and if you do not start from a point of forgiving yourself, from a point of giving yourself grace, and from a point of saying, I want to trust myself enough to say that I can do this and I can push for this. If you were to tell me that I was going to launch Make an Impression, let me even say 1 year ago, I feel like even 1 year is long, probably 6 months ago, I would have just laughed it out and be like, let's see, because I don't think I had trusted myself enough, or I had given myself permission to start over again. And that process of giving yourself permission and trusting yourself, it is painful. You have to confront a lot of things that it's not. Let me tell you, the reason why we really thrive in comfort is because comfort does not allow us to confront these things. But when you decide to get out of that space where you have to come out of that mindset of comfort, you have to come out of that mindset of, this is just who I am, and that's all I will ever be, and decide to do something more, it's going to be uncomfortable. You will have to fight with a lot of things that you'll always want to fall back into. Because let me tell you guys, even for me, sometimes I want to shrink back, and I'm like, why did I start all these things? Why did I put this much pressure on myself? What is it for? Can I just stop and just decide this thing, I will do it whenever I do it? But I have to keep reminding myself that because I gave myself permission to trust myself once more, then I have to put in the effort, and I have to get myself to the point where I started over and I am seeing the growth of what that starting over looks like. Number 2, you have to write down what's not working. I think from some of my previous videos, I have told you guys, I believe that if you do not write something down, it becomes very difficult to achieve that thing. So I've had to bring myself to a point where I have to write down the things that are uncomfortable for me. I have to confront those things that are uncomfortable for me. I have to be able to grapple with the fact that those things that are difficult, those things that are sensitive, I have to work on them. Because if I do not write them down, then I'm telling you, definitely I will not work on them. And writing them down looks like actually being honest with yourself, being honest with the fact that if I was to use my example, writing down what was not working for me, was always constantly falling back into the trap of people pleasing, was always constantly falling back into the trap of I am willing to sacrifice a lot of who I am so that everyone who is around me can be comfortable, everyone who is around me can be accepting of the version that is comfortable for them of me. And until I started working on that, which is very uncomfortable because it puts you in a very hard space where you're not sure if you're becoming selfish, you're not sure if you're becoming proud, you're not sure if you're becoming all these things that you've always constantly fed yourself in your mind. So unless you write them down and confront them and be accepting of the fact that they are going to be uncomfortable, and those around you will probably not support what you're doing, or will probably not understand what you're working towards, and it's going to take time for that to happen. So unless it starts from you, where you have trusted yourself enough to know that you're not doing this out of selfish conceit, but you're doing this because you are working on yourself, you're starting over again, and you're proving yourself wrong. You're proving yourself wrong of the things that you've constantly fed yourself in your mind, to actually fight them and to see that you're moving on to the next step. So for me, writing those things down has helped me to deal with them a lot. Like I've had to deal with a lot of sensitivity, especially in the workspace, because I have had the privilege of working around people who are confident, people who are audacious. And let me tell you, as an introvert, that can make you doubt yourself over and over and over again until you actually believe that you're not qualified or that you cannot do something. But I had to start from the point of writing those things down, that as much as I am not an extrovert, being an introvert does not necessarily mean that I cannot be bold, that I cannot be authentic, that I cannot find my way of doing these things and still achieving them. And so having come to that point of acceptance, I have been able to grow. I have been able to do things in a way that I would not do them before, because I stopped shrinking myself and I started looking at those things as positive aspects of myself, which have allowed me to start over and move forward. And the last one is, if you want something different, you need to do some things differently. So let me tell you, as we always hear this, we can even call it cliche at this point, that if you do something the same way, you don't expect the same results. Let me tell you, it's the truth. If you do the same thing the same way every day, year in, year out, and expect different results, it's not going to happen. At some point, you will have to shift your mindset. At some point, you will have to grapple with the discomfort of wanting to move forward and do things differently. At some point, you will have to sacrifice, whether that is time, whether that is money, whether that is of who you are. All these things, at some point, you will have to do them differently if you want to see different results. There is no shortcut to it, guys. You have to do things differently if you want to see different results. I have personally experienced that, and I have seen that the minute you step out of this bubble of being okay with doing things the same way and trying a little bit to do things differently, then you see the results of that. So I really hope you give yourself permission to try and do something differently, and trust yourself enough to believe that you can actually do it and set your mind to doing it. So I want to finish by encouraging you guys from the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 18 to 19. And the Bible says that, remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. For behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? So even the Bible says, I think even from, if we look at this verse and look at it practically, it says that you have to be able to not remember the former things if you are starting afresh. You have to be able to now focus on the person that you want to become. You have to be able to forgive your past, forgive your burdens, forgive your mistakes, forgive the things that you're not proud of, because those things are still part of your life. And that's why I keep saying that all of who you are is all of who you are. And until you are accepting of that, then it becomes very difficult to forgive yourself, to forget the former things and forge forward. So my encouragement this morning to all of us is that it is possible to start over afresh. It is possible to give yourself permission to become a different person and forge forward as that person. It is going to be uncomfortable. It is going to cause a lot of discomfort. It is going to not be accepting of a lot of the people around you. So you have to be willing to fight that. You have to be willing to show them, to carry them with you and tell them, this is the new me, and this is the person I am choosing to become, and this is the person I am working to become. I am not being selfish in this process. I am just choosing to become a better person. I am forgetting the former things. I am forgiving myself of the weaknesses or of the things, of the past mistakes that I feel brought me to this point. I am forgiving myself and I am choosing to move forward as this new person. So that's it for today's conversation, guys. I'm really glad you chose to tune in. If it's your first time here, karibu sana. Please do consider hitting the subscribe button and joining this growing family. And if you are a returning subscriber, kama kawaida, thank you so much for the love and the support that you have given me. I would also like to encourage you to please leave a comment in the comment section. Let us know if you have started the process of, if you are working on the process of starting over. What is that thing that you're finding difficult, so that we can pray together about it and we can commit it to God. And even God in his word says, forget the former things and forge forward as this new person, because he's going to sustain us and he's going to enable us. Until next time, my name is Jane. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you in the next one. Bye.